Masculinity, a feared, misunderstood, and diminishing trait. We all know that masculinity has been under constant attack by the mainstream media, society, social media, you name it. And the sad part about it is a lot of young ladies are suffering due to men not being masculine. A lot of families are suffering due to men not being masculine. Masculinity is something that the powers that be are trying to stifle. Masculinity is what built and destroyed civilizations. And I am not saying that women are not important. They are important. They're just as important in their own right, in their own role. They are just as important in their own role. But what's happening now is that they are trying to make men so-called fluid, meaning you can't really tell the difference between a man and a woman. A man acts just like a woman, looks, talks, even gets a surgery to be more feminine. And this is encouraged, while a man being someone that is strong, someone that stands on his belief, someone that stands on his square, someone that stands up for what he believes in. That's a bit aggressive. That is a bit disagreeable. He is looked at as a menace, even though masculinity it's precious, right? It's an essence, just like femininity, just like men view femininity as a precious essence. It is something that is intangible. It's something that you can't quite describe, but it's extremely necessary. You know, the thing about it is masculinity is frowned upon, but yet when times get tough, when a situation gets sticky, then that's when women that talk down on masculinity ignorantly and unknowingly, unknowingly hurting their own selves, that's when they want men to act like men, is when situations get hard or a situation gets sticky, times get rough, wars need to be fought, a robber needs to be handled, a belligerent person on the street needs to be handled. That's when they want the man to actually act like one. Something as simple as sports. And we all know that men that play sports are some of the richest people nationwide, not even nationwide, worldwide. You look at soccer players. When you think of rich men, you think of Jeff Bezos, you think of Elon Musk, and athletes are right up there. See, they want men to be men when it comes to things like athleticism, because athleticism is something safe. We can all just watch men display their brute strength and on the TV or on the benches. It's safe. It's not threatening. And yes, there are ladies, there are young women that partake in sports and they do very well at their sports, but their male counterparts blow them out of the water. Hands down. You can take the best female boxer and put her against, let's say, my favorite boxer and almost everyone else's favorite boxer, Mike Tyson. Put both the best female boxer in her prime and Mike Tyson in her prime, she will get ate. She will get devoured. And this is what society fears, and that was just a small example. That was just an example. I would never want to see a man box a woman. That's terrible. But I'm just giving you an example. Let me give you a story. I once knew this young lady that had tattoos all over, had gauge earrings. If you don't know what gauge earrings, that's when those, hipster crowd, the goth crowd, whatever you want to call them, the social justice crowd, they get those huge holes in their ears. You know what I'm talking about. She had some of those. They weren't too big. They were moderate. They weren't just, they were tolerable. She had tattoos. She looked like your typical feminist, but she was very pretty. She was not overweight. She was very shapely. She had a very petite figure. And when me and her would be in private, behind closed doors, she would be longing for that masculinity. She would be acting as soft as a kitten around me behind closed doors, because I showed her that I did not tolerate any of her BS. If she showed up late, I let her know. If she did something that I did not like, I let her know immediately, not in a malicious way, not in a mean way, but I let her know, if you do not straighten up, you will not be with me anymore. You will not be able to experience my presence. And she was soft as a kitten. She would make food. She would come over, she would pay for, she paid for some of the dinners. She paid for some of the movies. But when she left my presence, she would be preaching about how gender is fluid and how men are this and that. And it baffled me. It baffled me as to why she went against her own feelings. She was fighting her feelings. And this fight on masculinity is destroying, unknowingly, these women are destroying their relationships. Unknowingly, these women are destroying their chances of finding a good man when they castrate a man, when they make him their doormat, when they attempt to strip him of his masculinity, just to eventually break up with this man because he was too soft. Men, never lose your masculinity. Never lose your edge. Always stand up for what you believe in. Always stand 10 toes down. If someone, of course, you don't need to get into this conversation at work or anything like that. But if someone mentions something that you don't agree with, whatever the case is, speak your mind. I guarantee you, they might not like you, but they will respect you. They might not like what you have to say, but they will respect you as a man. But if you just keep going with the flow, if you're just kind of weak, you're not hitting the gym, you're a grown man and you have a huge belly with toothpick arms, you're already balding and you're only in your 30s because your testosterone is so low. Not saying that every man that loses his hair is low in testosterone, but you get what I'm trying to say. These grown men texting women heart emojis all night and talking to a woman on the phone for hours on end every single day, telling them what kind of cupcake they got or what kind of Starbucks latte they got, and the woman is slowly losing respect. The things that define masculinity are nothing harmful. Yes, they are a little aggressive, but it is needed. That is the essence of a man. A man could be the most enjoyable person to be with until you cross him. That's part of masculinity, is being charming, being a gentleman. And at the same time, you have a disposition about you. You have a demeanor about you that lets people know that even though you are a cool guy, even though you're a gentleman, if you cross him the wrong way, if you think you're gonna get away with disrespect, it's not gonna end well. You know, it's it's a man being physically built, because physicality is a huge part of masculinity. It is a man with solid physical features, hardness, standing up straight, looking people directly in the eye, talking to them, connecting with them. And at the same time, as he's doing all of this, people will just inherently know that this man he's a very likable person, but don't cross him the wrong way. It is a healthy fear. It is a fear out of respect. You know, there's always a fear out of just pure terror. And then there's a healthy fear. A healthy fear is someone that looks at you as someone that is enjoyable to talk to, enjoyable to hang out with, but at the same time, he knows not to cross boundaries. That is masculinity right there. And unfortunately, this is being attacked. I see commercials. I don't watch TV much, but I'm seeing these commercials, and almost all of them feature men that act very soft, very frail, very skinny. Some of these men are indistinguishable from women. I kid you not. There was one commercial that was playing. Everyone on there, I could barely make out if they were a man or a woman. And the men that, the ones that I could make out somewhat as men were, 2 pounds away from being a woman. You know what I mean? They were one blouse away from being a woman. But men, deep down inside, if you feel like it's not right, the things that society tells you, deep down inside, if you feel like society is telling you to soften up, to being more in touch with your emotions and cry and date other men, and you're phobic this and phobic that, if you don't believe in that, if deep down inside that doesn't jive with you, you better stand up. You better let society know, hey, this is, I don't agree with it. And if that's what someone else agrees with, more power to them, because everyone has free will. I have nothing against people of other sexual orientations. I've met a lot of people. I met a lot of great people that have other than heterosexual orientations. But if that's something that you don't agree with, you don't have to agree with it. You don't have to be malicious about it, but you don't have to agree with gender fluidity and all of this nonsense. Stand on your square. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment for the algorithm. Thank you.